All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well today. We have made it to the end of the week, just about to the weekend here. But before we completely throw ourselves into this upcoming game against the Rams, the game of the year so far, and maybe will end up being the game of the year in general, got a couple more things we need to visit from last week's big win over the Cardinals. And you guys know what we do Friday morning. It is Pass Rush Friday. We take a look and see how the players on this team are generating pressure, who's getting it done, who's maybe not getting it done so much. You guys know the drill by now if you've been on this channel long enough. So, yeah, we're going to take a look at some pass rush numbers. Um, Again, Pro Football Focus was certainly more generous to the Seahawks with their pressure numbers than Pro Football Reference, but this week it was certainly less different. Be right back. Before we go any further, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper, as well as get some picks in. Are you using the Sleeper app this year for daily fantasy football? If not, you are missing out. Let's just take a look over on the left side of the screen now. Look at all the fun stuff you can get up to over there. Look at all the great stuff you can pick on. Let's get some picks in for this week. I've got Chan with an anytime touchdown against Washington. I've got Josh Allen with 2 or more passing touchdowns against Tampa Bay. Cooper Kupp revenge game against the Rams over 29.5 receiving yards, and Ashton Jeanty with over 58.5 rushing yards against Dallas. So get on over to Sleeper, use promo code SBN, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Get your picks in and test your football knowledge. All right, so first defensive line, only 2 pressures here, both from Leonard Williams. This is kind of to be expected in a game where you don't have Jarran Reed, honestly, because Murphy, you can see that there are some games where he just goes off and lives in the backfield and is terrorizing the opposing quarterback. But then there are some games where he's just not. And that's going to be I think that's going to be the pattern until he starts playing at 3 tech full time. I think when you're playing a non trivial number of your snaps at the nose, it's hard to consistently generate pressure as a down lineman, no matter how good you are. So that's not really terribly surprising. Mike Morris, guys like Brandon Peely, not really generating a ton of pressure for you. So, yeah, 2 pressures from the defensive line total in that game. Not a lot, but not completely terrible either. Linebacker, I think we all know the deal here, right? I don't think we need to elaborate too much. We know that Tyrice Knight got 2 pressures, and they were 2 monster pressures. They were about as valuable a pressure as you can have in this league. And Ernest Jones didn't play, so nothing there. Nothing for Drake Thomas either. So just the 2 from Tyrice Knight, but again, very nice 2 to have. And edge rushers. Edge rushers. This is where most of the sausage got made this week. Predictably so. It's usually going to be this way, but it sometimes isn't. Like last week, according to PFR at least, there was very little edge pressure. This game, though, headed back in the right direction. Uchenna Nwosu with a couple. Oye Mafe adds a couple as well. His first pressures in a couple of games now, so good to see. Finally got on the board with a sack, by the way. And Derek Hall, who PFR has been very unkind to in recent weeks. I mean, look at this. Derek Hall hadn't been given a pressure by PFR in 5 games. Now, obviously, he missed some of those games with an injury, but that is a long, dry spell that finally got broken with 1 pressure. So he's up to 8 on the year, which that's not what we were hoping for. But again, even now, he might be somewhat negatively affected by the injury, so it's not the biggest shock in the world. I think that he's still playing well by becoming a more well-rounded player in some areas. I think that's been great. But Derek Hall is definitely not quite where I expected he would be in terms of pressure. On the other hand, though, DeMarcus Lawrence continues his impossibly dominant tear as a rusher after a early season early sleep how should I put this? because he wasn't playing poorly or anything, but earlier in the season, he was kind of giving you the kind of pressure numbers I was expecting. He got hurt, he missed a little bit of time. And then over the last month's worth of games, he's just been playing with his hair on fire. We've got, what, 18 pressures in a 4-game span. I don't know if DeMarcus Lawrence has ever had a stretch like that. And remember, these are PFR numbers. 21 pressures on the season so far. I wasn't sure he was going to get much more than that the whole season, to be perfectly honest. So, awesome stuff from D-Law. He's been incredible for this team. If he still has gas left in the tank when we get to the end of the year, and he's an older player, so you can never be sure about that, it's going to be a really fun set of games in the postseason, I think, with us chasing quarterbacks around. Because, again, he's not even somebody that you necessarily brought in thinking he was going to be dominant against the pass. Okay, that's it for the edge rushers. Nothing for the cornerbacks this week. Not much to say. We did, however, get another Nick Iman pressure. PFR gave him just the one, but again, I will happily take pressures from your... And by the way, again, I've said this before, I'll reiterate it for the new people. I know that Eamon Wari isn't really playing safety this year. He's playing slot corner, but I list him here because he started the year as a safety. Next year, if he continues to be basically viewed as the slot corner for this team, I'll probably move him, but for now, I'll just leave him here with the safeties. It doesn't really matter that much. But the point is, he's up to 3 pressures on the year now, so he's adding real value here. He's been very efficient at generating pressure on his pass rushes because obviously, as a defensive back, you're not rushing the passer at a very high frequency, and he's been great. So that is 14 pressures on the game. 14, so double last week. So PFR is definitely a little bit more in alignment with PFF. I do think that it is worth noting it's still much less, but you expect that. And unlike last week, where the pressure numbers told you a completely different story, the story's the same here. Pressure was really good. And Seattle's well on pace to get over 200 pressures on the season. In fact, they're on pace to pretty easily surpass that. And they're on pace to pretty easily pass what I expected of them before this season started. So, yeah, it's good stuff, man. It is really good stuff from this pass rush. Back in 30 seconds. Hey everybody, Seahawks Brendan Nelson here to show you some really cool steel art for the 50th anniversary of the Seahawks and a Mariners medallion too, like the ones pictured above my head. My dad, aka Metal Hawk, has met over 300 Seahawks, dozens of Mariners, and some Sonics in his time, and now he's making unique steel art, special edition, and it can be yours for a donation directly to Fans for Good. Click the Facebook link down below for complete instructions. Back to the video. And yeah, to kind of go back to the big picture here, look at the players that the Seahawks have that aren't meeting my pass rush expectations. You've got guys like Jaron Reed, who has kind of become the block absorber on this team. He's kind of become the de facto nose tackle in a way of speaking, in a manner of thinking. He's kind of become the nose tackle in Seattle. So that's not a bad thing at all. I also say Boye Mafe and Derek Hall. Hall obviously got hurt, which has hampered his performance. The Mafe thing, I mean, that's been kind of the one area that is genuinely a little bit disappointing. But other than that, man, everybody is living up to or surpassing expectations this year in my book. I wasn't thinking that Murphy was going to have his big breakout year rushing the passer this year. He has. It's been a little bit slower lately, but again, when you play a guy out of position for at least 30% of his snaps, which is about what I think it is, it's probably going to be unavoidable. You're getting so much good stuff out of Leonard Williams. He's giving you pressure pretty much every game. He's not as good as he was last year, I don't think, but he was never going to be as good as he was last year. He was so good last year. And overall, it's everything you could have hoped for when the Seahawks got McDonald a little less than 2 years ago. And when they put together this squad, pretty much everything is coming to fruition. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get on out of here. I will have another video in a few hours. We'll do the injury report video later. Expect that video to be a little bit late because I'm going to be out for a little bit today, but it will come and we will talk about it. Going to get some very important updates on some key players. Okay, everybody enjoy your Friday. Go Hawks, and see you soon.